man was originally a top agent at the National Security Agency. During a mission to recover artifacts, he accidentally broke the hand of a golden Buddha statue, causing a major disaster. Jeong Hae-seong was fired on the spot by the head of the NSA. Luckily, his team leader pleaded with the head to reconsider. The head then gave Jeong Hae-seong a mission to redeem himself. However, the team leader was shocked when he read the mission details. He immediately called a night meeting with Jeong Hae-seong and 2 other team members to discuss it. Before officially announcing the mission, the team leader explained the background. During the Japanese occupation, a Korean trader named Seo Byeongmun was favored by the emperor. The emperor entrusted him with 10 tons of gold bars, which he then kept for himself. After Korea's victory, Seo Byeongmun was pursued but couldn't take all the gold with him, so he hid it somewhere in Korea. The NSA has been investigating the Byeongmun Consortium, founded by Seo Byeongmun, to find the gold, but to no avail. Now, intelligence indicates that the gold is inside Byeongmun High School, owned by the Byeongmun Consortium. Their mission is to find the gold bars at Byeongmun High School. Jeong Hae-seong must disguise himself as a high school student and infiltrate the school to carry out this task. The team leader assured that Jeong Hae-seong's youthful appearance made him perfect for posing as a high school student. Moreover, if Jeong Hae-seong fails, all 3 might lose their jobs. Jeong Hae-seong, not wanting to let his mistakes affect his colleagues and team leader, agreed to take on the task. After his colleagues left, Jeong Hae-seong stayed behind in the restaurant drinking alone. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the front desk. A few thugs were trying to leave without paying. The owner's daughter warned them to pay or she would call the police. When they refused and became aggressive, Jeong Hae-seong intervened and quickly handled the situation. The thugs immediately paid and fled. Grateful, the owner offered to waive Jeong Hae-seong's bill as thanks, but he insisted on paying before courteously leaving. Oh Soo-ah, witnessing this, was instantly attracted to Jeong Hae-seong's righteousness and handsome appearance. The next day, the 4 gathered to lay out the plan. Colleagues crafted a perfect identity for Jeong Hae-seong. He would enter Byeongmun High School as a special admission student. To better communicate with the students and avoid suspicion, Jeong Hae-seong had to quickly learn internet slang and popular memes. The team leader specifically warned him not to get involved with any students, noting that Byeongmun High School and its attendees were not ordinary. Getting too involved could greatly increase the risk of blowing his cover. That evening, to boost his morale, the team leader took his wife and daughter to dine with Jeong Hae-seong. Having grown up without parents, Jeong Hae-seong was like family to the team leader. During the meal, it was announced that Jeong Hae-seong was assigned a mission at Byeongmun High School, shocking the team leader's daughter, Yoo Jong, who was a student there. She was instructed to ask no questions and keep Jeong Hae-seong's secret. The next day, Jeong Hae-seong, dressed sharply in his uniform, set off for school. Upon arrival, he went to the office to meet his homeroom teacher, only to find it was Oh Soo-ah. Oh Soo-ah recognized him immediately as the handsome man from the night before. Curious how he could appear as a student now, Jeong Hae-seong did not answer, instead excusing himself as it was time for class. Oh Soo-ah introduced him to the class, where he immediately impressed his peers. Only Yoo Jong stared in disbelief, unable to fathom that he was attending as a student and in her class. After class, she took him to the rooftop, promising to help him succeed in his mission. Jeong Hae-seong was urged to focus and complete his mission quickly. However, as soon as he entered the classroom, he started dozing off. Oh Soo-ah gently nudged him, but his reflexive reaction was deemed impolite, earning him a reprimand from the teacher. Finally, it was lunch break. Jeong Hae-seong wandered around the campus and soon noticed an old building marked "No Entry" with its door open. Despite the sign, the building was supported by steel scaffolding due to its age, with locked doors and windows preventing entry. At the back of the building, Jeong Hae-seong found the electric meter still running. While contemplating how to enter, he saw some classmates bullying a peer. Jeong Hae-seong wanted to help but feared exposing his identity. As he turned to leave, he bumped into a shovel, alerting the boys. Recognizing him as the new transfer student, they ordered Jeong Hae-seong to buy snacks for them. Frustrated but reminded by his team leader's advice to be patient, he reluctantly agreed to their demands. Back in class, Jeong Hae-seong inquired about the old building. His classmate explained it was built during the Japanese occupation and was rumored to be haunted. Due to its dilapidated state, the school had restricted access. Jeong Hae-seong reported back to his team leader that he suspected the gold was hidden inside the well-maintained yet hazardous building, speculating it contained equipment to control temperature and humidity to prevent the gold from tarnishing. The team leader instructed him to check the building immediately. Jeong Hae-seong, equipped and having disabled the surveillance, entered the building. As he ascended the stairs, a gun appeared at the stairwell aimed at him by Oh Soo-ah, who was on patrol. To avoid blowing his cover, Jeong Hae-seong fled. Oh Soo-ah chased but could not see his face. Jeong Hae-seong, thwarted, resolved to find another opportunity to enter the building. The next day, Oh Soo-ah reported last night's incident to the board of directors and the principal. Rather than sealing off the old building immediately, the board decided to wait and see if the person in black would return, wanting to understand his purpose. After arriving at school, Jeong Hae-seong lingered near the old building. He saw the principal enter the building and wanted to follow to investigate, but was stopped by security. Reluctantly, Jeong Hae-seong left, realizing the principal's daytime visit indicated the school knew about the break-in. As he was about to return to class, he heard noises from a trash can and discovered his classmate curled up inside. His classmate explained that he had been bullied by the school bullies because he had no parents and lived only with his elderly grandmother. He was afraid to tell the teachers as it could lead to worse retaliation. Just then, Oh Soo-ah found them. When she asked how his classmate got into that situation, he made an excuse and left quickly. Oh Soo-ah then pulled Jeong Hae-seong into the office for an explanation. As Jeong Hae-seong was thinking of what to say, Oh Soo-ah noticed his eyes resembled those of the person in black from the previous night. She stepped forward to get a closer look, but Jeong Hae-seong kept dodging. Realizing too late, Oh Soo-ah fell to the ground, and Jeong Hae-seong quickly escaped the office. At lunch, he and his classmate went to eat together, where Jeong Hae-seong unexpectedly learned his classmate had been inside the old building. His classmate said the building was rumored to be haunted because a girl's body was buried there, and driven by curiosity, he had sneaked in. He then showed Jeong Hae-seong a video he had taken, which captured a door in the basement secured with an electronic lock. Jeong Hae-seong suspected the gold bars might be hidden behind that door. He had just returned the phone to his classmate when the school bully, with his gang, approached. He accused the classmate of leaving the trash bin area without his permission and decided to punish him by spitting in his food and forcing him to eat it. Other students watched in silence, too scared to speak up. Jeong Hae-seong couldn't stand it and told him not to eat. The bully, not used to being defied, angrily flipped the food tray and then tried to beat up Jeong Hae-seong, who had no choice but to fight back, quickly knocking the bully down. The humiliated bully attempted a sneak attack, but was stopped by Oh Soo-ah. Oh Soo-ah took them both to the administrative office for questioning. They had just arrived when the vice principal, showing great deference, took the bully away. Jeong Hae-seong realized the clear favoritism. Oh Soo-ah scolded him in the office, questioning why he caused trouble just 2 days after arriving. Jeong Hae-seong sarcastically noted her feigned ignorance of the situation. Though Oh Soo-ah felt stung by his remarks, she knew the truth about the bullying. After leaving the office, Yoo Jung summoned Jeong Hae-seong to the rooftop, revealing that the bully, whose father was a congressman, terrorized weaker students unchecked, except by the student council president. She warned Jeong Hae-seong to avoid attracting the bully's attention. Jeong Hae-seong hoped the issue would fade, but then a video of the fight was posted online, quickly going viral and reaching the NSA director. The director urgently summoned Jeong Hae-seong and his team leader, warning against exposure. If such incidents recurred, Jeong Hae-seong would have to abort the mission, and their team would be disbanded. Feeling the pressure, they realized they needed to complete the mission quickly. The team leader gave Jeong Hae-seong a device to unlock electronic locks and instructed him to return to the old building that night to find the gold bars and end the mission. Jeong Hae-seong took the device and headed to the old building, but his classmates spotted him en route and followed him to the building. To ensure secrecy, Jeong Hae-seong brought him into the basement. Just as they entered the hallway, they heard loud noises and found a worker in a hat, who dropped his hammer and fled. Jeong Hae-seong chased him but failed to catch up, so he proceeded to open a door, revealing a secret passage leading to a secret room. However, instead of gold bars, the room was filled with information about them. Jeong Hae-seong deduced that even the chairman was clueless about the whereabouts of the gold, worth 800 billion, and was also searching for it. After leaving the secret room, unaware it was under surveillance, Jeong Hae-seong was about to leave with his classmate, who then stood shaking in front of a lifted floorboard. Jeong Hae-seong looked and was stunned. They discovered a skeleton buried underground. His classmate was so frightened that he wanted to call the police. However, Jeong Hae-seong examined it closely and realized it was just a skeleton model. He took out his phone to take pictures and found a pair of dancing shoes. At that moment, the principal came by and asked why they were in the old building. Jeong Hae-seong explained that they entered to verify the truth behind the old building's ghost stories and admitted their mistake. Following the principal's gesture, they quickly left the old building. His classmate asked why they didn't tell the principal about the worker who dropped the hammer. Jeong Hae-seong explained that they couldn't be sure who it was and didn't want to escalate the situation. Later that night, Jeong Hae-seong held a strategy meeting and displayed his findings on a screen, including a legless skeleton model. This was an intentional representation of a ghost story about a ballet dancer in the old building. He also found a key with a pattern identical to Seo Byeongmun's seal and the words "Start of the Gold Blocks" engraved next to it. Jeong Hae-seong suspected it was related to hidden gold blocks connected to the ghost stories. To find the gold blocks before the board chairman, Jeong Hae-seong decided to investigate more ghost stories beyond the old building. He applied to investigate 3 other ghost stories. After hearing the principal's report, the board chairman realized that the ghost stories might be a clever way Seo Byeongmun hid the gold blocks. From his classmate Jeong Hae-seong learned that the next ghost story was about a clock. The legend warns not to stay alone at school, as red eyes will seek you when the clock chimes. After school, Jeong Hae-seong approached the security guard, who had scratches on his uniform. He identified the guard as the worker who dropped the hammer the previous night. The guard confessed, but beyond his accidental discovery of the skeleton model, he knew no other useful information. After school, teacher Oh Soo-ah found out that a bully had taken his classmate away. She discovered that the bully had tricked his classmate's grandmother out of her ID card and was also bullying his classmate. Teacher Oh Soo-ah sent the bully to the office, but the bully warned her to act as a contract teacher should. Oh Soo-ah asked her classmate if he was always bullied by the bully. Fearing further retaliation, the classmate told her it was just a joke and quickly left. On his way home, Jeong Hae-seong asked a colleague to investigate the bully's identity and helped an old lady collect scattered cardboard, later realizing she was his classmate's grandmother. The classmate thanked Jeong Hae-seong, who gave him his phone number for any future needs before leaving. On her way home, Oh Soo-ah became increasingly angry. She had previously chatted with a colleague, revealing the bully was harassing her classmate. She wanted to report this to the principal, but her colleague advised her to overlook it as the bully's father had been a congressman for 3 terms, and their school favored influential families. Jeong Hae-seong was about to go home when he received a call from his classmate, reporting that his grandmother had been arrested. The bully had been using her ID for illegal activities. At night, Jeong Hae-seong secretly investigated a ghost story in a building when the board chairman approached him, questioning his presence so late. Before he could explain, she revealed her identity and warned him. The classmate returned home distraught, only to find Jeong Hae-seong waiting for him. Earlier that day, the principal had summoned the classmate, the bully, and teacher Oh Soo-ah to verify the truthfulness of the forum post. Under pressure, the classmate falsely claimed that the post was a lie and accused Jeong Hae-seong of hitting him. Oh Soo-ah looked shocked at her classmate. She later learned that the previous night, the bully had approached the classmate and threatened that if he didn't comply, his grandmother would die in prison. Jeong Hae-seong asked if the classmate had been threatened. The classmate broke down, crying about the unfairness of the world. He said he couldn't go to jail, wondering what would happen to his grandmother. He finally asked why Jeong Hae-seong didn't blame him, to which Jeong Hae-seong replied that none of this was his fault, not from the beginning. The next day, Jeong Hae-seong was indeed disciplined, accused of extorting a classmate's ID and bullying. Jeong Hae-seong learned about the bully from a colleague and missed the school's disciplinary hearing. The classmate pushed all the blame onto Jeong Hae-seong. Just as the school was about to expel him for bullying, teacher Oh Soo-ah suddenly stood up, spoke nonsense to delay, and just as they were about to finalize Jeong Hae-seong's guilt, a horn sounded. Someone had driven a motorcycle into the school. It was Jeong Hae-seong. He brought a helmeted figure from the back seat to the hearing to start his counterattack. Before riding to school, Jeong Hae-seong had gone to a warehouse. He questioned a man inside who was applying a face mask. The man scoffed, asking what a high school student was doing there and ordered his men to teach Jeong Hae-seong a lesson. After a fight, Jeong Hae-seong knocked down the men. After the fight, he found that 2 other team members had followed him. They said they would handle the aftermath and urged Jeong Hae-seong to bring the man quickly. Jeong Hae-seong rushed to the school. At the hearing, a sycophantic male teacher questioned why he brought an outsider. Jeong Hae-seong responded that the man was a key witness, explaining that he was the head of a gambling website. The president learned from the manager that the bully was a VIP client of their website and owed them a large sum of money. To pay off the debt, he had to keep bringing in new clients and even brought IDs. Jeong Hae-seong stated that if asked whether he bullied the classmate, his answer was no. He suggested that everyone knew who the real bully was. The bully tried to threaten the classmate further, but finally, the classmate spoke the truth, revealing everything the bully had forced him to say and that the bully had been the one harassing him all along. To prove his point, Jeong Hae-seong projected a video on the screen. Enraged, the bully slapped Jeong Hae-seong, who now had a reason to retaliate and slapped the bully hard. The bully's father, furious, tried to slap Jeong Hae-seong, but was stopped by teacher Oh Soo-ah, who threw him to the ground with a judo move. Afterward, teacher Oh Soo-ah applied some medicine to Jeong Hae-seong and informed him that the bully had been expelled. The atmosphere between them became very strange, filled with an ambiguous tension. The next day, Jeong Hae-seong continued investigating the clock, trying to force it open when no one was around. His sister walked in and interrupted him, so he explained that he thought the clock looked expensive. During a casual chat, he learned that the bully's expulsion had left a vacancy in the student council. Jeong Hae-seong was also worried about his brother being noticed by the student council president. Suddenly, Jeong Hae-seong noticed a clock identical to the one he was investigating in a group photo of the student council. Jeong Hae-seong learned that there were 2 different clocks in the school and wanted to enter the student council room to have a look, but was stopped by someone who said only council members could enter. She suggested that Jeong Hae-seong should just join the student council and offered him a gift, which Jeong Hae-seong declined. Jeong Hae-seong approached teacher Oh Soo-ah, expressing his desire to join the student council. Oh Soo-ah asked why he suddenly wanted to join, to which Jeong Hae-seong gave a vague response. After checking the requirements, Oh Soo-ah informed him that there were 3 conditions. First, ranking in the top 10 in the most recent school-wide exam. Second, obtaining signatures from over 100 supporters. And third, receiving approval from the current student council president. Jeong Hae-seong felt overwhelmed but began collecting signatures, starting with his classmate, who fully supported his bid. While Jeong Hae-seong worried about gathering the remaining 99 signatures, 2 students approached him, offering their expertise in collecting signatures. They had previously sought forgiveness from his classmate for not reporting him and, having become friends, promised to handle the signatures. Besides the signature challenge, Jeong Hae-seong's academic performance was poor, with only 7 days left until the midterms. The group leader reassured him they would handle the signatures and he should focus on his exams. They then organized a promotion, offering sandwiches to anyone who signed for Jeong Hae-seong, which surprisingly worked well. The team leader handed the signature form to Jeong Hae-seong, mentioning they were exhausted. Now it was Jeong Hae-seong's turn to perform. After the 3 left, Jeong Hae-seong received a call advising him not to join the student council. Jeong Hae-seong was urged to tear up the list and never set foot in the student council. Just as Jeong Hae-seong was about to ask why, Jeong Hae-seong burst out, warning him not even to think about entering there. She threatened to expose Jeong Hae-seong's true identity if he joined. After saying this, Jeong Hae-seong left. Meanwhile, the chairman found out there were 2 clocks in the school and heard from the principal about Jeong Hae-seong's application to the student council. He was eager for Jeong Hae-seong to succeed because he saw him as a variable that could stir up more trouble. He instructed the principal to keep a close watch on Jeong Hae-seong. Jeong Hae-seong used a cold as an excuse to carry out a mission. Oh Soo-ah expressed her wish to visit Jeong Hae-seong at home. Jeong Hae-seong quickly informed the team leader. To prevent exposing Jeong Hae-seong's identity, they initiated an emergency action. They had to gather all items typical of a high school student and set up a room to resemble a high schooler's within 15 minutes. Before they finished, the teacher knocked on the door. Trying to keep her out, Jeong Hae-seong accidentally spilled porridge on Oh Soo-ah, forcing him to let her in. While Oh Soo-ah was cleaning up, Jeong Hae-seong tried to get the team members to leave quickly, but she came out sooner than expected. Jeong Hae-seong explained he was organizing clothes. Just as they were about to leave, Oh Soo-ah tripped over some clutter and grabbed Jeong Hae-seong as a lifeline. They ended up kissing. At the same time, a team member hidden in the wardrobe fell out. The team leader quickly said he was Jeong Hae-seong's boss and wanted to surprise him. Just as Oh Soo-ah was still doubtful, Jeong Hae-seong pretended to faint. The team immediately understood and took Jeong Hae-seong away. Before the exam, all team members bathed, burned incense, and prayed for Jeong Hae-seong to do well. However, Jeong Hae-seong was distracted, constantly thinking about kissing Oh Soo-ah. Meanwhile, Oh Soo-ah was telling a colleague that she suspected Jeong Hae-seong was not a high school student. She spoke so much she ended up drinking a lot. After Jeong Hae-seong finished washing up, he found Oh Soo-ah drunk under his apartment, loudly confessing to his mother. Jeong Hae-seong didn't dare open the door, and eventually, Oh Soo-ah was taken away by a colleague. The next day, when the exam results were announced, Jeong Hae-seong was very nervous. Upon hearing his name, he excitedly stood up. He slowly opened his results as his team sat around the table, hoping for good news. Jeong Hae-seong did not disappoint and ranked in the top 10 of the school. Yoo Jong ranked first, overshadowing Yi-na. Yi-na felt unfair as she had worked harder than anyone but lost to Yoo Jong. Excited, Jeong Hae-seong shared the news of his top 10 rank with Yi-na and submitted his student council application form. Jeong Hae-seong and his team continued discussing. Besides him, 2 others applied for the student council without any special consideration for community service, so it seemed to be an assessment of skills and character. But ultimately, connections mattered. The team fiercely debated how to win over the student council president. At that moment, Jeong Hae-seong slammed the table, ready to use his secret weapon. The next day, as Yi-na was eating in the cafeteria, Jeong Hae-seong approached her with a smile and placed a glass of water on her table, shocking everyone. When other student council members asked Yi-na if she would agree to Jeong Hae-seong joining the student council, Yi-na said she would decide based on the council president's principles. That afternoon, the library posted a notice announcing Jeong Hae-seong's addition to the student council. Jeong Hae-seong noticed his sister had been avoiding him, so he asked her what was wrong. However, Yoo Jong didn't want to tell him and asked him to pretend not to know her in the future. Jeong Hae-seong, respecting her wishes, congratulated Yoo Jong on being the top student. Yi-na observed their interactions. After a student council meeting, Jeong Hae-seong made an excuse to take a tour. As he was about to open a desk clock, he heard someone open the council room door. Yi-na invited him to dine together, marking his plan as a failure. Meanwhile, Oh Soo-ah had her colleague investigate the sandwich shop frequented by the group. But the team's flawless act left the colleague finding nothing, and she advised Oh Soo-ah to focus on her own tasks. That evening, Yi-na and Yoo Jong arrived at the restaurant on time, followed by Jeong Hae-seong, who immediately asked if his sister had been waiting long. Yi-na noticed this and asked if they were dating. Relieved by their response, Yi-na made an excuse about buying stockings to send Yoo Jong away. Jeong Hae-seong stopped her and directly confronted his sister about her preventing him from joining the student council, asking if it was because of Yi-na. Yoo Jong confessed she was Yi-na's errand girl and had joined the council through Yi-na's influence, thus had to follow her orders. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong sneaked into the student council room. He opened the desk clock but found nothing. At a loss, a letter was slipped under the door, revealing that his actions had already been exposed. He decided to report this to his superiors and investigate the staff information at Byeongmun High School. The next day, Jeong Hae-seong checked the surveillance footage and found that all files had been deleted. From a conversation between the chairman and the principal, he learned they had erased the surveillance archives and also knew who had sent Jeong Hae-seong the letter, but they were unsure of that person's intentions. That evening, when Jeong Hae-seong was at a loss, he received a call from a security guard who invited him to the school's rooftop alone. Jeong Hae-seong arrived as planned, but just as he was about to enter the staircase, a loud noise came from behind. A mysterious person in black was trying to snatch a notebook from the security guard. During the struggle, the guard fell from the rooftop. Jeong Hae-seong rushed to the rooftop and fought with the person in black, but was distracted by a noise from the staircase, allowing the attacker to escape. The person in black drove off, then removed their disguise, revealing themselves to be the principal who worked for the chairman. Jeong Hae-seong, furious, stormed into the director's office to confront him about why his father's notes were at Byeongmun High School and why the director hadn't disclosed everything under threat. The director confessed that Jeong Hae-seong's father had been on a similar mission. Jeong Hae-seong was enraged, having spent years searching for the truth about his father's disappearance, while his superiors knew, but kept silent. Just as Jeong Hae-seong was about to hit the director, the team leader and others rushed in and stopped him. Jeong Hae-seong left the director's office, and the team leader quickly followed. Jeong Hae-seong told the director he was tired and didn't want to continue anymore, then turned and walked away. The next day, the entire school learned about the security guard's death, and students speculated that campus ghost stories had caused his death. In the student council room, Yina asked Yu Jong why Jeong Hae-seong hadn't come to school, but Yu Jong said she didn't know. Yina continued to ask Yu Jong if she really liked Jeong Hae-seong. After receiving a negative response, Yina decided to pursue Jeong Hae-seong herself. Despite Yu Jong's attempts to dissuade her, Yina wouldn't listen. The next day, a team member appeared in an ill-fitting school uniform, and the team leader, having no other options, ordered another member to enter Byeongmun High School. At this time, Jeong Hae-seong walked in. He had planned to quit and lead a leisurely life, but he still needed to find out about the notebook. Thus, Jeong Hae-seong returned to school. On the day Jeong Hae-seong took leave, his desk partner thoughtfully prepared the day's study notes for him. After class, Jeong Hae-seong went to the student council room again. Following the information in the notes, he set the clock to a specific time, and music started playing. Jeong Hae-seong recorded it on his phone. His next item to investigate was a self-playing piano. At that moment, teacher Oh Soo-ah walked in. Jeong Hae-seong tried to find an excuse to leave, but was stopped by Oh Soo-ah, who questioned his identity. Jeong Hae-seong knew that the person wasn't a suicide. The previous day, Oh Soo-ah had heard the bell, accidentally discovered the fallen security guard, and saw Jeong Hae-seong fighting with the person in black. Knowing he could no longer hide the truth, Jeong Hae-seong decided to be honest with Oh Soo-ah. In the chairman's office, his phone rang. A mysterious person marked as Fox arranged a meeting with the chairman. After telling Oh Soo-ah everything, Jeong Hae-seong gave her two options: either assist with the national mission as a civic duty, or risk leaking state secrets and face severe legal consequences. The team, after reviewing extensive materials, discovered that the song Jeong Hae-seong recorded was Byeongmun High School's anthem, composed by Seo Byeongmun. Learning of Jeong Hae-seong's actions toward Oh Soo-ah, they were furious and criticized him for needing to persuade gently rather than apply pressure. Jeong Hae-seong reluctantly visited Oh Soo-ah's mother's shop to apologize. Oh Soo-ah outwardly agreed to keep his secret and couldn't split a gold bar with herself, but deep down, she was already imagining the future. When Jeong Hae-seong was walking Oh Soo-ah home, he assured her that he would not let the teachers be affected and firmly held her hands. Oh Soo-ah was startled, and when she saw her teacher's face turn red, Jeong Hae-seong mistakenly thought she had a fever. Regaining her composure, Oh Soo-ah awkwardly pulled away from his hands. From a conversation between the Fox and the chairman, it was learned that the security guard had tried to send Jeong Hae-seong his father's operational records via letter, but it was intercepted by the chairman. The chairman had met with the security guard, who behaved arrogantly, believing he had leverage over her, which infuriated the chairman. It was also mentioned that someone within the National Intelligence Service kept in touch with the chairman. Jeong Hae-seong continued to investigate the school's ghost stories. While reviewing his notes, Oh Soo-ah suddenly appeared behind him. He asked for her help, and she mentioned seeing an old piano in the chairman's office, guarded strictly and usually inaccessible. The upcoming Byeongmun night would be his best opportunity. On his way to a student council meeting, Jeong Hae-seong learned that he had lost over 20 points and could not attend Byeongmun night. He sought help from teacher Oh Soo-ah, who kept asking about his age. During a team meeting that evening, Oh Soo-ah approached and shared good news with Jeong Hae-seong. Becoming a promotional model for Byeongmun High School would earn him 25 points, enough to compensate for the lost points. However, Jeong Hae-seong strongly refused, but his protests were in vain. He reluctantly followed teacher Oh Soo-ah to the selection venue. Initially reserved, Jeong Hae-seong completely let go under Oh Soo-ah's guidance and successfully shot several handsome posters. When it was Yina's turn to shoot, her old problem occurred, and Yu Jong took her outside intending to show concern as a friend. However, Yina strongly resisted and pushed her away, stating that Yu Jong was not really her friend and that she was just playing around. At that moment, Jeong Hae-seong came out and ordered Yina to apologize to Yu Jong. Yina mistakenly thought Yu Jong and Jeong Hae-seong were in a romantic relationship, causing her relation with Yu Jong to hit rock bottom. After the shoot, Jeong Hae-seong chatted with Oh Soo-ah. Through her words, he suddenly remembered his childhood deskmate, Bong Ji. As Jeong Hae-seong was leaving, Oh Soo-ah kept asking who he had just remembered. Suddenly, raindrops fell from the sky. Jeong Hae-seong realized from how Oh Soo-ah's mother addressed her daughter that she was indeed his former deskmate, Bong Ji. Just then, an electric scooter rushed towards them, and Jeong Hae-seong quickly pulled her to safety. They locked eyes intensely in the rain. The next day, the selection for promotional models began. The vice principal directly picked Yina, declaring her the female student representative. When it came time to select the male model, the vice principal initially wanted to choose someone from the student council. However, Oh Soo-ah, knowing she could not just watch passively, decisively suggested a vote. The first 10 votes resulted in a tie, with each candidate receiving 5 votes. The last vote would be crucial in deciding the winner. Not only was Oh Soo-ah extremely nervous, but Jeong Hae-seong, Dongmin, and the 2 junior partners were also very anxious. Soon, the results were announced. Jeong Hae-seong was successfully elected as the promotional model. Seeing Yu Jong passing by, Jeong Hae-seong remembered what Oh Soo-ah had told him earlier and apologized to Yu Jong for meddling in his sister's personal issues. After resolving his sister's concerns, Jeong Hae-seong immediately convened a meeting with his group. They suspected that the security guard's case had been concluded through some manipulation by the chairman. Jeong Hae-seong also shared a shocking secret with the group. The office in the old building's basement actually belonged to his father, and his father's disappearance was likely connected to the chairman. Continuing their investigation of the third urban legend, they discovered that although the song was the same, the waveform of the recording made by Jeong Hae-seong and the current school version did not match. The team leader thought that playing the song might provide a clue and asked who could play the piano. However, when everyone looked at each other cluelessly, they realized none of them could play. Just when they were out of options, Oh Soo-ah entered. She offered to play the piano, stating that the school song was a piece of cake for her. Jeong Hae-seong initially wanted to refuse, fearing it would expose Oh Soo-ah too easily, but the team leader expressed a different opinion. Since they were on a secret mission, they couldn't ask for help from other departments, making Oh Soo-ah their best option. Although initially upset by Jeong Hae-seong's rejection, Oh Soo-ah was won over by the team leader's sincere trust and his appealing proposition. Although she agreed, she stated there was one condition. After completing the task, the team must use their connections to help her become a permanent teacher. Seeing this, Jeong Hae-seong pulled Oh Soo-ah aside. He didn't want her to be involved in danger and tried to dissuade her. Jeong Hae-seong doubted that Oh Soo-ah would go to such lengths just to become a permanent teacher, so he asked her why. Oh Soo-ah honestly replied that she had promised her first student that she would become a permanent teacher. Jeong Hae-seong reluctantly agreed. The next day, Oh Soo-ah obtained the principal's fingerprint through a book passed to her by the principal. To access the chairman's office, both the principal's and chairman's fingerprints were needed. After collecting the fingerprints, Jeong Hae-seong continued to learn piano under Oh Soo-ah's guidance. That evening, Oh Soo-ah and the team leaders went to the National Intelligence Service to prepare for the operation at 8 p.m. the next night. As planned, the event the next evening took place. Their operation officially began, and the venue suddenly lost power. Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah took advantage of the chaos to move towards the chairman's office. Soon, Jeong Hae-seong knocked someone down. Just as they were about to proceed, the power was restored, disrupting their original plan. However, they had other strategies. The team members diverted the security's attention, allowing Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah to reach the chairman's office. Jeong Hae-seong tried to use the previously obtained fingerprints to unlock the door, but after several failed attempts, he had to ask his colleague to continue delaying. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong and his group were surrounded by security personnel. With no other choice, Jeong Hae-seong resorted to force. After overcoming the security, Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah successfully entered the chairman's office. When the choir performance ended, their playing also finished. but nothing happened. Jeong Hae-seong, having found nothing, decided to leave. Just as he was deleting the access record to the chairman's office, he discovered detailed records of their operation on the chairman's computer. On the way back, the group pondered the clues that appeared during the piano playing, but Jeong Hae-seong was distracted. He chose not to return with the group and got off the car alone. He had begun to distrust the National Intelligence Service and others. At home, Jeong Hae-seong analyzed the day's findings on his blackboard, trying to identify those colluding with the chairman. He wrote down names of suspects, hesitating when he reached the team leader's name. Then, he scoffed at himself for suspecting this man who treated him like family. As he was about to erase it, he remembered previous incidents and stopped. The team leader also seemed preoccupied on the ride back, not hearing his colleagues after being called several times. The next day, Oh Soo-ah was sorting through the discoveries at home. She identified a crucial clue through a silent piano key and excitedly called Jeong Hae-seong. However, he, having pondered last night's findings all night, did not answer the phone. Jeong Hae-seong ran into Oh Soo-ah at the convenience store. She excitedly shared her discovery, but Jeong Hae-seong seemed indifferent, preoccupied with thoughts of spies from the National Intelligence Service. As they drank and chatted, Jeong Hae-seong informed Oh Soo-ah about the potential spy. Knowing he was troubled, Oh Soo-ah comforted him, saying that suspecting those close to him was painful. She reassured him that once the untrustworthy person was identified, everyone else would still be his friend. This conversation greatly eased Jeong Hae-seong's mind. On the way home, Oh Soo-ah asked why Jeong Hae-seong spoke to her so rudely. Jeong Hae-seong finally revealed that they had known each other since childhood. However, he was curious why he was considered her arch-enemy in life. Oh Soo-ah was momentarily stunned. After saying goodbye, Jeong Hae-seong went home to ponder the identity of a spy. During the event night, he found a strange card. Oh Soo-ah initially wanted to return it to a student, but a colleague advised investigating it first, as many students were involved in cybercrimes. Following the advice, Oh Soo-ah entered the URL on the card and accidentally discovered the school's secret of faking rankings. At the same time, Yi-na recalled a conversation she overheard between a classmate and his father during the event, revealing that the paper competition's winner was predetermined. She confronted the classmate in the student council room and learned that most of the school's rankings were fabricated. Yi-na intended to confront the chairman, but was stopped by a classmate who revealed a harsh truth. Even if she found the chairman, what could she do? The chairman's actions benefited Yi-na the most, as all her honors were due to her mother's influence. Oh Soo-ah was about to approach the chairman, but was deterred by his cryptic words, meant to discourage her. However, Oh Soo-ah was not one to give up. During a chairman's gathering, they knew Oh Soo-ah had found the card, so they changed the URL. When Oh Soo-ah logged in again, she found the URL had disappeared. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong's listening device was already placed at the gathering location. He monitored every move of the chairman and the classmate's father. When they suddenly started discussing Oh Soo-ah, Jeong Hae-seong became anxious and hurriedly drove to Oh Soo-ah's location. To prevent any accidents involving Oh Soo-ah, the two started living together. From the information overheard last night, Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah concluded that the chairman was planning a conspiracy that could impact the entire educational sector. The next day, Jeong Hae-seong shared this with the team members. The team leader then called him out, telling Jeong Hae-seong to focus solely on the mission to find the gold, asserting that this matter had nothing to do with him. The team leader, using his authority, ordered Jeong Hae-seong to stop meddling in other affairs and concentrate on the gold. At that moment, the head of the National Intelligence Service called them to his office. After hearing Jeong Hae-seong's report, he told him he would consider it carefully. He instructed the team leader to report on the operation's progress and asked Jeong Hae-seong to return to school first. The chairman was immediately informed about the events at the National Intelligence Service and started planning against the meddlesome Jeong Hae-seong. During class, Jeong Hae-seong received an order to halt the gold-seeking operation and wrap it up within a week. In reality, the chairman was the one who ordered the operation to be halted. However, to continue his investigation, Jeong Hae-seong needed to stay in school, which he could only achieve by pretending to know the location of the gold. During lunch, Jeong Hae-seong sat across from the chairman and brought up the ghost story related to the gym, which directly hit the chairman's interest in finding the gold. Knowing the last ghost story meant Jeong Hae-seong was close to finding the gold, the chairman ordered the principal to keep Jeong Hae-seong at the school after finishing his meal. When the chairman returned home, Yina confronted him about the rankings, to which he candidly revealed the truth and asked Yina to stop hanging out with Yu Jung. However, Yina refused because Yu Jung was her friend. Oh Sua, alone in the archives, discovered that all the proctors involved in the fake ranking exams were the same person, Lee Jun-ho. When she returned home with this information, she found the door open and the room in disarray. As she entered the living room, a figure clad in black appeared before her. When Jeong Hae-seong returned home, he found his normally tidy house in chaos, and Oh Sua unconscious on the floor, unresponsive to his calls. Just after returning home, Oh Sua encountered a knife-wielding figure in black. As she attempted to call the police, the attacker lunged to snatch the phone, leading to a struggle. During the confrontation, Oh Sua was unfortunately stabbed with a dagger. The assailant, panicked, fled the scene. At this moment, Jeong Hae-seong arrived home and found Oh Sua unconscious. He quickly took her to the hospital where she urgently underwent surgery due to the severity of her wounds. Thankfully, she was out of danger after the operation. Soon after, several team members rushed to visit her. However, Jeong Hae-seong, upon seeing them, did not show a welcoming demeanor and urged them to leave shortly after visiting Oh Sua. He then went to the rooftop alone to get some air. The team leader, noticing his unusual behavior, followed him to the rooftop to inquire about his condition. An agitated Jeong Hae-seong lost control and yelled at his leader, accusing him of being an undercover agent for the National Intelligence Service. The next day at school, classmates noticed Jeong Hae-seong's absence and learned that an Oh Sua colleague had replaced the usual teacher. In the student council room, a female student shared that Jeong Hae-seong had taken teacher Oh Sua to the hospital the day before, though she was unaware of the exact illness. As the students speculated about Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Sua's situation, Yina intervened, cautioning them to be mindful of their words to avoid spreading strange rumors. Yujin also echoed this sentiment, and the discussion was halted. Meanwhile, Oh Sua, now awake in the hospital, revealed to Jeong Hae-seong her discovery in the archives. All the proctors involved in the fake competition were Lee Jun-ho. Another team member informed Jeong Hae-seong that the intruder who stabbed Oh Sua was also Lee Jun-ho. Jeong Hae-seong instructed his team to keep a close watch on Lee Jun-ho without informing the team leader. At home, recalling the details shared by Oh Sua, Jeong Hae-seong realized that Lee Jun-ho's target might not have been the records of the rigged competition, but rather his own operation notebook. In a panic, he searched for the notebook, which was indeed missing. At the board's side, Lee Jun-ho handed the operation notebook to the chairman. He aimed to have the chairman erase his records of forging grades. However, due to Lee Jun-ho's excessive behavior in harming others, the chairman was reluctant to protect him. Lee Jun-ho threatened the chairman and successfully instigated a murderous intent in him. As the chairman reviewed the notebook, she deemed Jeong Hae-seong's presence at the school dangerous and instructed the principal to handle it. Meanwhile, Yina approached the chairman, stating her desire to earn first place on her own merit rather than through fixed results. While monitoring Lee Jun-ho, two team members suddenly saw the principal escorting Lee Jun-ho into a car and quickly informed Jeong Hae-seong. Shortly after, the principal took Lee Jun-ho to a desolate suburb and injected him with an anesthetic. The two team members realized what was happening but lacked the strength to intervene effectively. Just as they were about to be dumped at a recycling plant, Jeong Hae-seong arrived just in time. The chairman, timing her call, phoned to check if the principal had completed the task, but only heard a shutdown notice. The next day, the chairman entered her office only to find Jeong Hae-seong waiting. Jeong Hae-seong had many questions. As he began to ask, the chairman wondered why he was asking her these questions. Jeong Hae-seong then turned on the TV showing news of Lee Jun-ho being interviewed. The chairman dismissed it, believing that one teacher's word was not enough to threaten her. However, Jeong Hae-seong's next words left her unable to laugh. He held a USB drive with evidence given to him by Lee Jun-ho. This news spread across the entire school, causing a significant uproar. Byeongmun High School was thrown into chaos. In the interrogation room, the board questioned whether the chairman could still fulfill her role. Just as they were about to leave, The chairman suddenly burst into mad laughter. Afterwards, Jeong Hae-seong apologized to the team leader, sincerely expressing his regret and revealing that he had discovered the director was the real traitor. Jeong Hae-seong shared the clues found by Oh Soo-ah with his classmate, hoping that his classmate, who enjoyed strange tales, could help analyze them. However, the classmate admitted ignorance, but mentioned a rumor. Knowing the last of the ghost stories would curse the school, causing someone to vanish silently one day. The next day, the chairman, who was under investigation for exam cheating, stormed into the school and publicly tore off Jeong Hae-seong's school badge, demanding his expulsion. While classmates wanted to protest, they felt powerless as students. The team met to discuss alternatives to continuing their investigation outside school. Suddenly, the inspectorate burst in and found an envelope filled with money in their office. Just as Jeong Hae-seong was about to react, the team leader stopped him. Then, Jeong Hae-seong received a call from the chairman, who informed him that the envelope was a parting gift and that her next target was Oh Soo-ah. She called to warn him. Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah were eating at a roadside stall when Jeong Hae-seong expressed his desire to give up, but Oh Soo-ah encouraged him to keep going. That evening, the team leader called to inform Jeong Hae-seong that their team had been dissolved. However, Jeong Hae-seong told them he did not want to give up and that from the next day, they would operate out of his house. From the conversation between the National Intelligence Service and the chairman, it was revealed that the chairman was responsible for the director's current position. She also warned the director not to be too presumptuous or talk back. The next day, the school started to regulate students' lunchtimes based on their grades, with lower-performing students eating later. During a meal at the team leader's house, Jeong Hae-seong shared that the chairman had solved the third urban legend, but had not yet unraveled the fourth. Oh Soo-ah handed Jeong Hae-seong a collection of essays written by her father when he was a student, advising students. It contained hints about the last urban legend. Jeong Hae-seong noted that in Seo Byeongmun's time, there were no computers, suggesting that the fourth urban legend might be fabricated to mislead and prevent the chairman from finding the gold. Meanwhile, the chairman was actively searching for the gold, using metal detectors to scan the school's buildings. That night, Jeong Hae-seong, disguised as a delivery person, successfully entered the school. He and Oh Soo-ah went to the statue of Seo Byeongmun and were discovering clues when the vice principal arrived. Fortunately, Oh Soo-ah's quick thinking allowed Jeong Hae-seong to escape. The vice principal informed the chairman that last night, Oh Soo-ah was seen with a delivery person at school. The chairman immediately suspected the delivery person was Jeong Hae-seong. Later, Yina approached the chairman, asking about Jeong Hae-seong, but her mother was reluctant to discuss it. The next day, Oh Soo-ah quietly went to the statue of Seo Byeongmun to investigate, but was spotted by a colleague. After misleading them, they were just about to go to class when the entire school suddenly received a message containing a photo of Oh Soo-ah and Jeong Hae-seong having a meal alone. Just as Oh Soo-ah was about to start her class, the principal entered the room. He told Oh Soo-ah that she no longer needed to teach and was about to take her away when Jeong Hae-seong suddenly appeared. He came to explain a photo to the students, revealing his military discharge ID and telling the truth that he was actually 31 years old, making Oh Soo-ah unsuitable for dating a minor. He also confessed his feelings for Oh Soo-ah, shocking the students. Then the chairman approached, and Jeong Hae-seong told her it was his turn to make a move. The chairman angrily returned to her office, puzzled by how quickly Jeong Hae-seong could respond. She recalled Yina's actions from the previous night, realizing it was Yina who had informed her about the photo and helped Jeong Hae-seong enter the school. The chairman wanted to know why Jeong Hae-seong was pretending to be a high school student at Byeongmun High. Jeong Hae-seong said he would reveal his reasons when the time was right. The chairman was furious about Yina's actions and decided to find the gold bars today, knowing they were connected to the Seo Byeongmun statue. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong planned to act that night, intending to enter the school openly. At that moment, Oh Soo-ah's mother stepped forward, offering her help if needed. It turned out that Oh Soo-ah's mother was the leader of the Bongchen Cave fried chicken gang. The chairman rushed over but found that Jeong Hae-seong and his group had already surrounded the school. Jeong Hae-seong finally opened the Seo Byeongmun statue, revealing a secret passage underneath. However, instead of gold bars, they found the body of Jeong Hae-seong's father,